Hello and welcome to Always Bored Never Boring. I just wanted to put together a quick video today to round up a lot of the stray bits of news surrounding Avalon Hill and the projects they showcased at the recent International Game Festival at Cannes. I'm sure a lot of this won't exactly be news for many people, but I wanted to group it all in one place and share any straggling thoughts I might have had about the whole situation. Obviously, I think the big news for the majority of my followers is regarding the newest HeroQuest expansion against the Ogre Horde. I have already done 2 videos on this expansion, one when images of a sealed copy leaked onto eBay back in January, and then a second the day before Cannes got underway and a selection of additional images were shared on the HeroQuest Avalon Hill Hasbro fan page on Facebook. That being the case, I've already said most of what I want to say on the subject for now. I don't want to keep repeating myself or burn myself out on the subject before I even get a copy in my hands. But Avalon Hill did post some more official images on X and Instagram, and they did announce that the expansion would be available on or around March the 1st at select retailers in select markets. Lo and behold, on the 27th of February, Amazon US posted their listing for the game, ready for immediate shipping. It promptly sold out as everyone and their wolf companion placed an order, but we can expect other stores and other territories to be following hot on Amazon's heels now, and Amazon are already accepting orders for when they restock, so don't panic. As it turned out, most of the official images that Avalon Hill shared also appeared on the Amazon listing. However, Amazon did have some additional images that are all very illuminating. I will quickly look through some of the more interesting ones here for you. This first image shows most of the components. Not all of the components, by the looks of it there are a couple of monster cards and a bunch of other game cards missing, but it's a good indication of what you are getting and the value proposition in terms of physical elements in the box. This second image also shows another view of many of the components. The most interesting thing here is we can see the full details of the wolf companion, but don't worry about squinting and zooming in because we have another image for the wolf that is even better. This image shows a selection of the cards. The first thing to note is that we have the rules for the wolf, and it is indeed a wolf companion, the official retail release of the playtest rules that first appeared in the online quest Into the Northlands. The wolf is intended to join a party that has fewer than 4 heroes. The wolf will bond with one of the heroes and will take a turn immediately after that hero. It can move, attack and defend, but cannot do any other actions like using potions or opening doors. The wolf's stats are Move 10, Attack 3, Defend 2, Body 5, Mind 1, and it can attack diagonally. This is exactly the same as the wolf companion from Into the Northlands. Also in this image we can see the back of the druid spell cards, which shows the deer from the Life Force spell and a wolf's head. This indicates that the new druids are supposed to use the wolf for their shapeshifted form. But we only get one wolf miniature, which means if you are using the druid, you can't also take a wolf companion. Additionally, the art for the shapeshift spell still shows the druid turning into a bear. It all begs the question, why aren't we getting a bear too? I have seen some people say they are going to use a polar war bear miniature from the Frozen Horror to represent the druid, which is a fun idea. But I do just think it's a bit of a shame we aren't getting an official bear miniature. I dream of one day a miniatures pack that includes all the miniatures we should have got at retail over the years. Sir Ragnar as a prisoner, Sir Ragnar as a dread knight, the Witch Lord, werewolves, a prospector, and now a bear. But I digress. The other thing I want to point out about this image is the English translation for the Dominate spell. Attacker and defender roll dice equal to their mind points. If the attacker scores at least 2 skulls, they can move and attack with the defender. Basically, mind control. This spell is derived directly from the chaos spell of the same name from the original version of Against the Ogre Horde. The other original spells were Mind Blast, attacker and defender roll dice equal to their mind points, the player who scores the most skulls inflicts mind point damage equal to the difference. And Mind Lock, attacker and defender roll dice equal to their mind points, the defender is frozen for 1 turn for each skull scored against them. And as we have seen in images, both of these spells will also feature in the new edition of Against the Ogre Horde. This is a bit weird though, and different to what I was expecting. I mentioned in a previous video that we already have some dread spells with names and or effects similar to these new spells. We have Command, which puts a hero under Zargon's control until it's broken, Mind Blast, which prevents a hero from moving or attacking, and Mind Freeze that can reduce a hero to 0 mind points and send them into shock. I think I would have preferred it if the new spells for against the Ogre Horde were simply made into dread spells that could be added to our dread deck, which would make it easier for homebrewing. I don't think we necessarily needed another deck of cards, and it feels like an instance of trying to cleave too close to the original expansion, which included Chaos spell tokens because Chaos spells weren't originally a thing in the European version of HeroQuest. The next image is a slightly closer shot of the miniatures. We can see more clearly how the double doors appear to slot into the frame, allowing them to be removed to show the doors as being opened or closed. We can also see one of our druids standing next to a goblin, so that's a good size comparison. The next image shows our big boys in the arena. The sculpts really do look fantastic. However, from this image it appears that there may have been a bit of an issue with the sizing of the miniatures. The ogre characters are all on bases that cover 2 spaces, like the wolves from Mage of the Mirror or the big boss from Rise of the Dreadmoon. But it appears that the ogre bases are somewhat larger and significantly overhang 2 spaces. That could be a bit of a nuisance during gameplay, as the HeroQuest board is cramped enough already. The next photo gives us another view of the card tiles including the arena, and I think it's worth noting that in the Amazon listing it states that the new arena mode for the game lets you compete against other players to prove your merit in World's End tournament battles. The team left standing wins. I would say everything looks pretty great. And all things being equal, by the time this video goes live, some people will already have their copies in hand, and I know there are already images going up online daily, so we really don't have long to wait until all the mysteries of the Ogre Horde are laid bare, and indeed by the time you watch this video we may already know a lot more than what we did when I recorded this. However, we are not done yet. Avalon Hill weren't just talking HeroQuest at Cannes. There was more exciting news for adventure lovers as we got our first glimpse of artwork for Avalon Hill's new edition of the classic Games Workshop title Talisman. Back in the day I had the 2nd edition of Talisman plus almost every expansion for it. A huge tower of boxes packed with, actually, honestly, pretty mediocre adventure. I wouldn't want to claim that Talisman is one of the best games ever. It's incredibly simple, often runs a bit too long, and frequently lacks meaningful choices. I would say few games have got as much out of the question, do you want to go left or right? But what Talisman does do is tell a story. Within a very basic structure, using easy to learn rules, it lets you weave a narrative of adventure as you explore a world filled with peril and plunder. It can be random, it can be unfair, but Talisman is often greater than the sum of its parts, and it still holds a place in my heart. Like with so many Games Workshop games, Talisman was a formative part of my childhood. I played 2nd edition to death and instantly purchased the 3rd edition when it came out. And for me, it was another example of a game that gave me a chance to escape to another land. As a bonus, because it's such a streamlined game, it wasn't that hard to find other people who were happy to escape with me. Much like HeroQuest, this is an adventure game that the whole family can play. These days I no longer have a copy of Talisman in my collection, but I often look at the 2nd edition copies on eBay and think about buying one. It has been years since I have trudged around that board, got lost in the desert and turned into a toad. I do think, every once in a while, it would be fun to do that again. And now we are getting a shiny new 5th edition of the game. I'm really pleased to see it. Talisman, as I've said, isn't the pinnacle of great game design, but it's accessible, full of adventure, and I love that it will continue being possible for gamers to discover it. At the moment, we don't know too much about Avalon Hill's new edition. On Instagram they have said, "Today we were honoured and thrilled to announce that we are expanding our portfolio to include one of the most epic fantasy and adventure tabletop games of all time, Talisman, the Magical Quest game." The otherworldly artifacts known as talismans have once more descended onto the mortal plane, signalling the dawn of a new era, and the need for a new ruler. In Talisman, the Magical Quest game 5th edition set forth on an epic adventure, racing to be the first to obtain a talisman, reach the Crown of Command in the centre of the board, and defeat the Elder Dragon to win. Launching in or around July 2024, timing varies by language and market, 5th edition maintains what die-hard fans know and love about the Magical Quest game, but features stunning artwork, redesigned figures, and more streamlined and accessible gameplay. So, it sounds like Avalon Hill intend to be true to what Talisman is, yet there may be some changes. Certainly worth checking out. The only other information Avalon Hill shared was the box art, which looks great. It's not packed with excitement and action, but it has a more foreboding feeling. There are discarded weapons on a staircase leading to a monolith and the Crown of Command. I've seen a few people say the cover looks boring. I don't know what they're talking about. It's like they don't see that dragon up there. I like the cover. The staircase is like a mysterious invite to adventure. When you play Talisman, you never know what you are going to face on your travels, but you know you will go on a journey and you know what your goal is, and this art reflects that. It also reminds me a little of the beautiful 2nd edition artwork by taking the elements of that piece and reworking them in a new way, and that's certainly no bad thing. The last thing out of Avalon Hill that I want to mention briefly is that recently they did a quick visual tour around their new card game based on Betrayal at the House on the Hill, which incidentally is a game I've been meaning to pick up for a long time. The new card game is called Deck of Lost Souls. It's a standalone game that Avalon Hill call a speedrun of terror and chaos, and the artwork is phenomenal. The idea appears to be that you, the players, have been ensnared by a cursed deck of cards, and you will need to play items to defeat omens and curses, while constantly being aware there may be a traitor in the group. So it's got hidden roles, and cooperation among players as they try to assemble the necessary items to break the curse and survive. There is a how to play video on the Hasbro shop that explains the game better than I could, so I will include a link to that page in the video description below for anyone who would like more information. I have to say, I think it looks gorgeous and sounds like it could be a great quick party game, the sort of game I roll out at my Christmas parties. By the time you see this video, the game should already be available in select retailers in some territories as the rollout is underway. And I am going to leave it there for today. There is lots of exciting stuff going on over at Avalon Hill right now, and I am certainly interested to see what is coming next. Let me know what you think in the comments, because that is it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really like the video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully, I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.